The European Commission announced on June 12th that it would impose anti-subsidy duties and tariffs of up to 38% on imported Chinese EVs from July. Because as it turns out, folks, even if an extra 30% tariff was added for a product from BYD, the company could still earn a profit of more than 15% on something like its Seagull and CLU vehicles sold in the EU. Research has shown that in reality, to slow down the Chinese momentum, you need to raise these tariffs to 40 or 50%, which is obviously something the government is not going to try to do to sever relations even more. And as it turns out, in the latest proposals from the EU, those tariffs are not going to those levels. The level of tariffs expected for SAIC, which is the worst offender, is 38% for a company who did not cooperate and were not sampled by the government. Meanwhile, BYD, which sells the most EVs globally, is only going to sit at a tariff of 17.5%, which, as I just mentioned, is going to barely affect their profit margins. The likes of BMW, Tesla, Great Wall, XPeng, and NIO are themselves going to sit in the 20 to 21% bracket, but that can potentially change following more ratifications of this proposal going into July. As a matter of fact, a country like Norway, which is not a part of the EU, is not going to join on these Chinese tariffs, even though 12% of all their imported EVs are from China. It isn't a desirable outcome for the country because not only is there little industry for manufacturing in the state itself, but also adoption rates are at sky-high levels in the country, and it doesn't necessarily need to be slowed down right now. And well, what happens to be yet another reason why the Chinese EV industry could be minimally affected by these EU tariffs is the fact that China exports are a very small share of its total car production. A lot of these vehicles are sold domestically, and the market and population for these cars is growing every single year in China. It is essentially becoming its own continent. As a matter of fact, the companies most affected by these tariffs could be the likes of BMW and the Volkswagen Group. Even with the extra duties, BYD's cheapest electric car is expected to arrive with prices under 20,000 euros in Europe. And as seen by this very simple chart, that company also happens to have the most margin buffer as compared to Tesla, Zeekr, or BMW themselves. Every single item in green would still earn an EU premium even with tariffs set at almost 30%. But as usual, folks, that is just my take on the situation. So let me know what you guys think on whether or not BYD and other Chinese EVs can maintain their momentum in Europe with these new tariffs. Thanks a lot for watching, folks, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.